Hello! I am looking a little vampy and scary today, so ignore that. That's just how I look today. But I realized as I sat down to edit this video that I never recorded an intro or an outro, or possibly I did and I deleted it because I'm pretty sure I recorded it. But anyway, it has been a really long time since we've had a bullet journal video around these parts, and I've had requests to do one, and I kind of like where my bujo is headed right now. So I thought today, that's what we would do. We're going to take a look at some of my favorite spreads from last year and the direction I'm heading in this year and what my bullet journal of 2018 looks like so far. So if that interests you, or you've been curious about bullet journaling, stick around and watch that, because that's the thing that I did. And away. So here is the bullet journal. Some of you may recognize this from last year. Like an idiot, I decided to keep going in the same journal this year because I still had a fair amount of pages left, maybe just under half, and I figured, well, if I used half of them last year, then I'll use half of them this year. That's perfect, and I won't be wasteful. But that was just really, really bad choice, because the reason that I had half left still was that I didn't keep up with my bullet journal all year, and I didn't do all of the things I wanted to do with it. So once I got into this year and started really going to town, I'm running out of pages so fast. Like, I'm going to be lucky if I make it through March with what I've got left. And then I'm going to end up having like a split bullet journal for the year, and that irritates me a little bit, but you live, you learn. So let's take a look at a few of my favorite pages from last year, and then we'll get into the setup for this year, which I'm really, really liking. Also, before I get into it, ignore the state of my hands. They are all scratched up because Kimba was being ferocious. I have newspaper ink in my knuckle that does not want to come out. My nails are all chipped up. It's just, you know, this is real life. Okay, let's go. Also, oh, it's just, why would I keep going with this? Some of you already saw my index last year. Here it is, all filled out and onto the second page, and I really like how this is going. Here's a kind of silly one that I'm not carrying forward to this year, but it was interesting to do last year. Rather than writing out all of the books that I read last year, I decided to do quick doodles of the covers. So there's everything I read last year, with really quick, really shitty doodles. Here's my all the lipsticks. I think I talked about this in the last one. Basically, I had a goal of working my way through every lipstick that I owned. As you can see, that didn't happen. I kind of just ended, and there are big gaps actually. So like this is January, I did excellent. A little bit in February. Then we skipped down to June. So I do want to keep going with that though. And then on the back, it was supposed to be lip prints of my favorite lipsticks, but since I never finished that challenge, I haven't done those either. So this might be continued and just might be 2017-2018. Here's a disappointing spread that I made and never used, and I really like it. Sad. Here's one that you will see again in this year, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but this was a favorite of last year. Every month I did a little, like, hello, whatever, and March was one of my favorites. I don't know how well you can see the wood look of the lettering, but I really like that. Here is another favorite spread that is very disappointing. I decided to do the year in pixels, but instead of doing just a big block, I did the letters of the months, and only did it in March. That's a bummer. Here's a kind of basic idea of sort of what I moved towards for weekly spreads. I found that I didn't like a lot of extra stuff on the page, so just blocks was really nice, and I'm mostly sticking with that this year so far. I like this little fireworks July. The last one I really want to look at from last year, I know, not a ton of pages, not a lot of favorites. It was mostly really utilitarian, although I do like when I was doing the little bookshelf for the things that I had read. But the last one I want to talk about was this ridiculous calendar from December. Not the most practical to have it all in ornaments, each week a circle, but I like it anyway. So that was the end of 2017, moving into the main focus of this video, which is the setup for 2018. Here was another ridiculous one. I don't know how well you can see that. Hopefully not very well, because it's horrible. But I did like storyboards for a video idea that I had that I recorded all the elements for and never put together. So that was a lot of wasted time, but it was still a fun spread to do. So Welcome to 2018. So I'm just going to walk you through what I've done so far this year and kind of where things are headed. I have Goodbye 2017, which I still haven't filled out. Probably should do that before I start forgetting things, but let's be honest, 2017 was a shit show for a lot of people, so whatever. Then I have my year at a glance. You'll be seeing this gold leaf pen a lot, because I love it. Here we have two repeated spreads from last year. I had these in my 2017. One is books read. As you'll see, I'm not drawing them all this year because that was stupid, but, you know, fun, but stupid. I'm not doing it again. And then this one is books acquired, so new ones to my shelves, and I have some that I need to add to it. I have my goals for 2018. I left myself some space so that through the year I can kind of add more as more things come up. Then we have a basic Hello January that's got some wear and tear to it. I'll explain why on the next page, but I really like the way this turned out. Although it's so weird because this tan, it probably looks like, tan marker on the screen, and then this kind of minty green one, in different lights, swap. And this one will look tan, and that will look minty green. I don't know why. I do not know why. It's super frustrating though. I colored a tan bunny on a Christmas card, and it turned green. So, festive bunny, I guess. Alright, so, this is why the other page was messed up. I decided this year I'm going to do sort of more art calendars. Not give myself big spaces to write things in, but just, you know, a nice simple calendar, but where I'm focusing more on doing something artsy every single month. And I did this one, and I loved it. And then I didn't realize, someone pointed out to me on Instagram that I did the dates wrong. It started on a Monday. So I tried to remove it, and I just ended up tearing up the paper quite a bit, so I just left it. I was like, you know what? Whatever. I know when it starts, so I have a wrong calendar here, but I still really like it. I ended up making a correct version of this too, though, and uploaded it as a printable for the 30-day book binge because I had a bunch of people ask about it. So this is kind of the style that I'm going for so far. I wanted to kind of condense some things down, partly maybe because I know I don't have a lot of pages left, but also I just felt like I had a lot of wasted space. I would take up a whole page of something and then I wouldn't use it enough and it was just kind of pointless. So I have two trackers here. I have kind of a schedule of things that are going to go up on blog, and occasionally Insta if I need to remember something. And then I have another tracker up here that's just habits, and then in the middle I'll have a section for notes and whatever else I need. And so far that's really working out for me. On this page I have notes for a review discussion of a book. It's a pretty weighty one, but I will link it, but I don't need to really look at that. This is the basic layout for my weeks so far. Again, it is kind of the little cubes, just not, you know, completely drawn out. This one's just kind of banners. Later in it, I will do cubes again, but just little chunks. That's all I really need. Here is a fun one. So I just did the 30-day book binge. This was my reading log, where I wanted to write down what I read every day, kind of the time of day that I read it, and then how much I read. And then when I finished a book, I would write some quick notes so that I would remember the things I wanted to say about it. My 30-day book binge went so well that I had to add in a leaf. So I wish I would have continued the sort of banner at the top across so it would be seamless, but I didn't. But still, that's a nice amount of reading. And I really liked this. I might keep going with this throughout and keep noting what I'm reading and what I thought of it when I'm done. Here's some more weekly stuff with a little Tess of the Road note section in the middle. I loved this. This is a video review. I will link it. I've also been kind of half meal planning, half meal tracking, because I don't always plan in advance, but I like to kind of know what was going on when. So far, that's working for me. So that's pretty much all for January. As you'll see, not a ton of stuff. I feel like I don't really need more. Occasionally I'll have little extra pages added in, but this is enough and it doesn't feel like it's too much, you know? It can be a lot to keep up with a million different spreads. Moving on to February, which we've just begun, and this is kind of the setup, and I really like it so far. So here is my Hello February with a bunch of little conversation hearts. I like how that turned out. And then again, I did a painted calendar. Now, something I learned in doing this is I need to cut it smaller than the actual page and not put it right into the edge, because when I glue this in, it just does this. Like, it doesn't want to stay flat. And then the page always wants to open to that, so it just goes straight to these two pages. So if I leave just a little strip that's just paper, like regular bujo paper and not watercolor paper, I think I won't have that problem. But this is my February. I love it a whole lot. Over here, because I've just started setting these up, I have two little post-it notes. I talked about this in my last bullet journal video. I like to have things written down on post-it notes that I can just move forward as needed, because it keeps it from being messy, and I'm not, well, you know, messier. And I'm not someone who wants to or is always able to have everything pinned down to, I'm going to do this on this day. Things need to change on the fly. So I put down things that have to get done for the week or the foreseeable future, or in this case it's videos that I need to do. I put them down on a post-it, and then I can move them forward to each week and see where I'm going to have time to do it, and I fill it in there. Over here I have started the blog Insta tracker, but I haven't done the rest. So I haven't put my habit tracker up, and I haven't done a note section or anything else, but we're getting there. And then I kind of love these. So here, I said I was going to talk about this one more. I did an NaCoWriMo page for 2017, and I really, really liked it. So I did essentially the exact same thing this time, but just made it a really pretty gold, as I said. I'm loving that foiling pen. But NaCoWriMo, if you don't know, is International Correspondence Writing Month, so you have the goal of sending a letter or a card every single day in February. So that is what I want to do this year. I don't know if I'll make it through every day. Last year I only made it through maybe 10, and I didn't even write them all down. But I want to at least try, and if I do, I will track it. And I really, really like how this turned out. And I like this writing up here. Don't know how well you can see that. Like it. Then in the opposite spread, I have a bunch of hearts, and this is for 28 days of book love, so all of February. I also want to do little daily challenge where I focus on the details of books that I love, so things like hand lettering on the cover, or deckled edges, or embossing, just all that kind of stuff. Just a little month dedicated to all of those tiny loves. So they're just little hearts. I have a list in my phone of the topics and some of the books in those topics, and I'm going to work on today, because it starts tomorrow, figuring out what's going to go where and pulling out the books so I can take pictures. Here we're back into the cubes. They work exactly what I need. And then this is the current page, which is notes on the Audible romance package, which is a video I'm going to be doing very soon. But that is the state of the bujo so far in 2018. So there you have it. Possibly not the most interesting video, now that I kind of think about it. Not that bujo videos aren't interesting, but I guess I had less going on than I thought I did. However, I'm really, really digging the watercoloring, and maybe I can work that in more. Originally I had wanted to do an all watercolor bullet journal, but it's really hard finding a watercolor book that will lay flat enough for me to do it, and I want the dot grid because it makes life so much easier. So I don't know, I'm a little torn for the future, I guess, but that is the state of the bujo 2018. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you liked or hated or whatever any of these spreads or the calendars and kind of the direction I'm going in general. And if you are a bullet journaler, show me some of your favorite spreads. Tag me on Instagram or Twitter, because I'm looking for the inspo, the bujo inspo. But that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again soon with something that probably won't be bullet journal related, but will be awesome. Wink, wink. Thanks for watching, guys. Excuse you, stop it. Hey, excuse you, please.
No, you get out of here.